Before we get into this video, I would just like to state that everything I'm saying is not meant to be taken as cold hard fact. These are just possibilities for what could be happening. These are just my thoughts and opinions as somebody who has worked in the industry on releases like this, and I swear to God, Pete Wentz, if you sue me, I will cry forever. Please don't sue me. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about Fall Out Boy and the postponement of their new album, MANIA. So I feel like there's a lot I could say here as somebody who's worked in the industry. I'm gonna try and focus mostly on why it's being postponed because I think that's where I can offer the most insight. So before we even get into this, why do I feel qualified to tell you about these things? Well, good question. So I used to work at Fall Out Boy's label here in Canada. I worked on Save Rock and Roll and American Beauty, American Psycho. That was the time that I was at the label, and those are the two releases that I assisted on with the team. And I obviously wasn't in charge because I was new, but I did work there and I did help on them. I was also the marketing lead for Halsey for Room 93 in Badlands, and I coordinated on literally hundreds of other releases. So I've seen pretty much the entire spectrum of how these things can go, from, oh my god, Drake just surprise released an album and didn't even tell us, we need to put something together immediately, all the way to the other end of the spectrum, which is like looking at the list of upcoming releases and seeing Frank Ocean on to be announced for like 2 whole years. So I've pretty much seen how these can go in just like every different way. But based off of what I've seen from this one, I think I can offer some insight that maybe you wouldn't be able to get otherwise, because I feel like, you know, they mold the message when they release these things so that you don't know everything, because you don't need to know everything. But I've seen a lot of people getting really stressed about it being delayed by so long. And I know my first thought was, oh no, they're going back on hiatus. But I'm trying to push that feeling down because I don't want to think about it. But I know a lot of people have differing feelings on the new music. A lot of people really love it. A lot of people really hate it. I'm not here to give my opinion on the music at all. I'm here to just talk about the business side as opposed to the creative side, because I think that's where I can offer some help and maybe some comfort to people who are kind of stressed about this whole thing. One thing I would like to say before I get into this is I don't know why they put an album up for pre-order if it wasn't done yet, but I do know that there is pressure from the label if they have a set date for you where they're like, we want you to have it out by then. You can't be like, well, okay, we're gonna announce that it's coming, but we're not gonna put up the pre-order until it's done, because then the hype dies down and nobody pre-ordered at the top of the hype. So it's just like a complicated thing. But I feel like if you've pre-ordered and now you have to wait like 5 extra months and you already gave the money to them, I'm so sorry. That is really rough and not well thought out. But let's hop into the stuff that I can actually help with, and let's talk about it. If you have any opinions, definitely leave them below. I would love to talk about this with you because obviously I worked in this, so I care a lot about it and I love talking about it. So having other people to talk about it with is really cool. So please comment below, and yeah, let's hop right in. So why do I think this album was postponed for so long? It was supposed to come out in September of this year. It's not coming out until January of next year. That's a big jump for an album that they said is done, but they just want to make it better. What's the deal? So as somebody who has seen things from the behind the scenes, there's a lot of things that happen that they don't tell you because it wouldn't make a difference for you to know it. Usually it's like, why get into the nitty-gritty of everything if we can just say, hey, it's been delayed by a week? Like, why bother with the whole, oh, because this happened and oh, production didn't release the copies? Like, it's too much information if they have to tell you everything. So I've seen the panic, the stress, I've seen it all. So I'm gonna tell you from my perspective what is going on here. Alright, so the first thing to know leading into this is that the year is divided into 4 segments in the music industry. It's just Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Each segment usually kind of has different focuses, which is why it's broken up. It's easier to plan ad campaigns and stuff when you look at the year 3 months at a time and say what's going on in this 3-month segment. So it's like at the beginning of the year, it's like the holidays have just ended, nobody's really spending because the holidays just happened, now they have to bounce back from Christmas. But it's like, oh, there's Valentine's Day, like, oh, let's do a sale around love, like, oh, release a bunch of love albums, cute. And then, you know, Q2, it's leading into summer, so you have that, you have Mother's Day, you have Father's Day. Q3, you have back to school, you have Halloween. No, wait, Halloween's Q4, but what Halloween spooky albums? Sometimes, I guess. But Q4 is when everything is kind of like loaded into the end of the year, end the year with a bang, end it with lots of stuff to put in people's stockings. The number of stocking stuffer campaigns I have seen, oh my god. But you have like all Christmas albums. The biggest artists usually release albums in that time of year. That's not like a hard and fast rule. Not every single big artist is going to release an album in Q4, but they usually try to plan those albums there because it ends the year strong, and it's just like good for the holiday season to have those artists right at the front of the shelves being like new music, up on the charts, blah, blah, blah. So that's like when the Biebers of the world release things. So currently, Fall Out Boy's album is planned for Q3, right at the tail end of it. So when they say, hey, we're gonna delay this album a bit, it's not ready, it's not their place to go, we just need 3 more weeks and then we're good, release it then. It's not up to them where they then place their album in the cycle. They don't get to choose like, oh yes, just put us into Q4, thank you so much. It's not up to them. It's up to the label and where it fits with all the other things that they're already doing. So at this point in time, they've definitely already started planning Q4. They know what's coming. There's like a list usually that tells you everything for the year in like a tentative way. So they know what's coming in Q4, and it's gonna be really hard for them to just be like, yeah, just throw Fall Out Boy in there, I guess, when they have so much already planned and so many other big releases that are gonna overshadow Fall Out Boy. So what I think happened is the label probably said, hey, you're gonna have to wait until after Q4 then. If you're not doing it right now, you're gonna have to wait until January because we have so much going on, you're gonna get lost in the shuffle. So that's why I think it got postponed to January. Because they're so late in the year already, they can't be like, oh yeah, just drop it into Q4. That's why it's so many months away. Because January is the next best time that the label can focus on Fall Out Boy as opposed to Christmas and holiday campaigns. And I honestly think it's for the best for them, because in Q4 there are so many big releases coming that they would never get like a Billboard #1 or like #1 on iTunes, when all of these other big artists are gonna start surprise dropping albums or just like planned releasing albums. Like let's say if Taylor Swift is gonna release an album this year, it's gonna come in Q4. It's gonna come in like November, December. So like imagine Fall Out Boy finally putting together this album and releasing it, and then it only gets to like 15 on the iTunes charts because everything is coming out at the same time. Like I remember when I worked on Badlands, it came out the same weekend as The Weeknd's Beauty Behind the Madness. And I was like, why? Why would you release it this week? And I tried to get them to move it, but it was like, well, no, that's the date that we chose. But it's like, like you could have had #1 if you had a week where you weren't releasing it at the same day as another big album. So having Fall Out Boy release something in January is probably better because they have a way better chance at getting a #1 everywhere, getting good placement on Spotify, getting good placement on Apple Music, because it's not like, oh, well, we don't have space to advertise Fall Out Boy because we have to advertise like holiday campaigns or like, you know, they have stuff already planned, and if you can't fit Fall Out Boy in to market it and to sell it, why release it at all? Because nobody's gonna get this album and nobody's gonna see it because there's just too much. And that's the thing with the music industry, is a lot of artists get pushed under the rug because there's other things to focus on that make more money, and I hate that about the music industry. But it's the way that they run right now. So I would never want to see that happen to Fall Out Boy, so I'm honestly glad that it's not getting pushed into Q4 because I feel like it's way better for them, and hopefully in the end it's better for the label too because they'll make more money because more people will see the album. And there's more opportunity because there's less albums coming out in Q1 anyways, so more people are going to be looking for new music and they might find Fall Out Boy. And honestly, I hope they do because Fall Out Boy deserves it. But yes, so that's what I think is going on there. That's why I think the delay is so big. As much as I feel like it is like a big delay, but it sounds like if they needed that much of a delay, then maybe the album really does need more time. And I do want them to produce their best work, and I applaud them for taking the time to focus more on a new sound and like seeing what they can get away with and pushing their boundaries. But if they're now gonna look at that and say, okay, we're gonna do something different, I respect that too. I think if they wanna take more time to focus on whatever they're gonna do it. It's your music, it's gonna be tied to your name forever. Make sure it's something that you're proud of, you know? So yeah, that's why I think that is all happening. Hopefully that offered you some insight. Now let's get into a couple little other things. So usually in an album cycle, what we see from the outside is usually like cryptic tweets because everybody likes to be mysterious in this day and age. And then you see like, hey, we have a new album coming in 3 months. You can pre-order it now and also get this first single. And then after that, you get like some more singles, you get some videos, you get TV appearances, some fan events, and then boom, the album drops, you have a tour. That's pretty much the whole thing. But from the inside, it starts way before that because you have to start setting up all the marketing, having photos, having the music ready, having everything for before that pre-order even starts. So they've definitely known for longer than we have that this album's coming. I would say that the record label definitely gave them like a decent amount of notice to like put together an album because they have to front the money for that, and then Fall Out Boy has to make the money back for them based off of album sales. So it's not like the label is just gonna be like, surprise, make me an album in 6 weeks, and the band was like, ah! And the label's like, take $100,000 and go, fetch! Like, it's more organized than that. So for it to all of a sudden be like, ah, the album's not ready and we haven't even finished it, it's like you've definitely had time, unless the record label was like, hey, hurry up, where's the album? You said you'd have it for us by September. And then they're like, okay, fine, we'll start the pre-order, we'll have it for you by then. And then things didn't go to plan. Like, there's so many ways that could have happened. Either the label told them, hey, you need to have it for us by September, and then things like didn't come together the way they wanted, or maybe they were saying, hey, we want to put out an album this year and we know we can't put it in Q4, put it at the end there and we'll have something by then, and then it didn't pan out. Maybe another thing I wanted to talk about is the music itself and why they've decided they want to make something better. That could be based on them or the label. Maybe they sent the record in and said, hey, here it is, and the label said, no, do something different, we don't like this. Maybe they finished the album and then listened to it and said, we don't like this. Maybe they saw the fan reaction to the first singles and said, oh no, we gotta change this. Maybe the label actually approved it already, maybe it was done, and then when they saw the fan reaction, they said, okay, maybe we should change this because it doesn't sound like it's going well. There are so many ways that that part of it could have gone, which is why I didn't want to offer like full insight into it, but maybe just like my opinions help form what's going on a little better, because I feel like we have been kind of left in the dark with what's going on. It's been very promo heavy and like tour heavy. Now they have this tour coming up and there's no album for it yet. So out of all the things going on right now, the only thing I'm praying is that there's no hiatus. But if there is one, I totally understand. They're artists, they can get burnt out, they can have disagreements, things can happen. And last time we came out of the hiatus and things were awesome. Like, it was the most exciting thing that happened. So, I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I'm hoping it doesn't. I feel like they're not in that place anymore, and I feel like they're much better, like, mentally and, like, emotionally. So, let's hope for the best. But I think that's all the insight I can offer right now. I feel like I've jumbled every thought in my head just thinking about this, so there probably was more I wanted to say, but I've just like talked around myself so much that I can't even remember my own thoughts. If I think of more, I will leave it in a pinned comment in the comment section, so you can check there if you want to see if I've had more thoughts. I tend to have thoughts. We'll see what happens. But hopefully this has given you some insight into why Fall Out Boy is doing what they're doing. I know it's really odd. It is odd. Like, even like as somebody who's seen it all, it's odd. But I'm hoping for the best, and I'm hoping that their ability to look and say, hey, this isn't our best work, we want to make better, I'm hoping that that pays off and they end up with something incredible. I would love to see them like winning awards and just like not like alt press awards. I mean, like, you know, seeing 21 Pilots winning Grammys, that's pretty cool. I have a comment on one of my videos from 1 year ago being like, oh my god, could you imagine if 21 Pilots ever got nominated for a Grammy? Now they have multiple Grammys. More than one Grammy. Like, let's just see these things. I know Fall Out Boy's won awards before, but like, I want to see it happening again with the new stuff. Let's do it. So I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this or if you learned anything from this, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. I'm a sign, not a cop. So let's talk in the comments about what's going on. If you did pre-order, I hope that they send you something very cool with your pre-order because you deserve it for waiting so long. And yeah, Fall Out Boy. Always keeping us on our toes. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.